And we've been hearing about young George in the BBC Essex News this morning. So how has he been making a difference?
Oh, I love this story so much. I really do. Yes, young George Cussell from Chelmsford. Bless him. He's 6 years old and he's raised a lot of money for charity by building a den and staying in it for 48 hours. Which is just amazing. I love this. To tell us a bit more, George's dad, Richard, joins us now. Hi, Richard.
Hello. Morning.
This is such a fantastic idea. What did the den look like, and how long did it take George to build it? Or I'm guessing you probably helped him a bit, did you?
Well, I helped him a tiny bit, but only to lift up a few of the heavy objects. The idea kind of started after a day of lessons with the St. Peter's School in West Hannaford with the rest of the teacher and the class. And Mrs. Dixon, the teacher, was talking about what fun activities they will all be doing on the weekends. And a couple of them talked about building a den. And then George thought that perhaps he could do a bit of research, looked into a few clips on YouTube, decided it might be a good idea. So we helped him a little bit. But no, most of it was down to him. So yeah, it's good.
That is fantastic. And when did it become a fundraising challenge, and how much were you expecting to raise?
Well, we weren't, a lot of these things you kind of would like to plan, but this was very much off the cuff. Following setting up the den, which probably took about half an hour to an hour, he stayed in there for a few hours, and then he talked about perhaps staying in there the whole night. And then my wife and I talked about, could you do it for the whole weekend for 48 hours? And he said he'd give it a go, and we talked about maybe raising some money for a charity. A lot of these charities are obviously struggling to cope at the moment. It's tough times with not much events going on. And George thought, let's give it a go. And we thought, okay, well, we'll start with Just Giving page, try to raise a couple of £100 for Little Havens Hospice. And it kind of just took off after that. We had a lot of donations from family, friends, some of the parents and staff at St. Peter's School. And we were just so pleased with how it went. So, it's a great achievement for George, but also for a very good charity.
And how much money have you raised so far, Richard?
So we've raised just £2 off £1,200.
Wow.
Which is well over what we wanted to. So we're absolutely delighted. And I know Little Havens are obviously very pleased as well. So, we're chuffed with that.
Richard, I've got 2 young children. They don't sit still for very long. Were there any points where you thought, perhaps George wasn't going to be able to do 48 hours in a den?
Yeah, no, I would like to say that he stayed in there without moaning or complaining. And a few times he wavered. There was no doubt about that. But if anyone knows, if they're homeschooling at home, to keep a 6-year-old still, as you say, it was a challenge. And he did waver a little bit. But we watched a few clips on the Little Havens Hospice website. And George had a real grasp and understanding for kind of work that they do there. And in fairness to him, maybe with a few snacks and a few kind of games to play, he kind of stayed in there and he showed determination, persevered with it. There were some challenges at times, but that's what raising money's about sometimes, isn't it? And so it's good for him in his development as a young boy. So it's a good memory now.
Well done to George. Is he listening to this? Matt, is he around? Richard, is he around?
He's around, yeah. Would you like to speak to him?
Well, I'd love to. If he'd love to say hello, I'd love to say hello to him.
Okay, I'll pass over.
6. There you go. George.
Hello.
Well done, George. Well done. I'm giving you a big clap here, George. You did fantastic. Well done to you. And were you surprised that so many people gave you so much money for Little Havens?
Yeah.
How happy are you? 1 to 10. How happy are you, George?
10.
10? Wow. And did you think sometimes that when you were in there, did you think, I can't do this? But then you looked at the little children and thought, I'm going to do it for them. Is that what you thought?
No, I knew I was going to do it.
Fantastic. So what was the best bit? What was the worst bit? What was the best bit about being in your den, George?
The best bit was playing games.
Ah, it's lovely to play games, isn't it? What was the worst bit in your den? Was it when you had to sleep in there on your own, or what was it?
It was a long time.
It was a very long time for a 6-year-old. I've got a 6-year-old great nephew and a godchild, and I don't think they could sit still for 5 minutes, George. Are you thinking about any other things that you could do? Because obviously you're such a strong boy, aren't you?
Yeah, I think I'm thinking about going up my flat stairs 100 times.
Wow. 100 times, Matt, wow. You heard that. Well done.
You've got to let us know when you do that. We'll get you back on.
We should film it as well, going up with those little... Isn't it? You're just adorable. So I want to know if we can still donate and how we donate, Richard. I know you're listening as well there.
Yeah. Yes, well, we have a Just Giving fundraising page. My name's Richard Cussell. That's Cussell. And we've had 71 donations already, which is, as I said, is brilliant. And we're just £2 shy of £1,200. So any small donation, I know this is tough times for people, but any small donation would be great for a wonderful charity who do so much for families and for young children.
How did you come to choose Little Havens, Richard?
It goes back to 2017. Initially, I did the marathon in Essex, and I was looking to try and see if I could raise some money. And we have a local shop in the vineyards at Great Baddow, and I've quite often given them some items, some clothes, some equipment. So I initially started fundraising for them. I raised over £2,500. And because of that, I suppose I became a bit of an honorary member of the organisation. You know, I was invited down there to have a look around. I was sent emails quite often about all the work that they're doing, and they do such a wonderful job. For some people, perhaps who don't know much about Little Havens, they're part of the Havens Hospice group, and they provide palliative and nursing support care to babies, children, and young people living with complex or incurable conditions across Essex. The charity doesn't charge a penny for its care, and that's only possible because of the donations and the kind of support that people give within the community. And obviously, as I mentioned, during these challenging times, it's very tough to raise any money. And the staggering amount that they have to raise is £40,000 every week. And then that's just to ensure that they can look after every young child and young person that needs them. And as you can imagine, £40,000 a week just seems an awful lot of money. So based on that, that's really why I want. And the staff down there are so lovely, so kind, so welcome. They do such a good job for these families and children. So I thought no better charity than the Havens Hospice.
Well, do you know what Captain Sir Tom said in his first TV interview? One small soul like me won't make much difference. Well, one little soul like your little boy made a difference. And nearly £1,200, surely we can get him over that £1,200 at least. You can go to justgiving.com/richard.cussell2. And thank you so much. And well done to George. Brilliant. If he's going to do that 100 steps, do let us know, won't you?
I will do.
Fantastic. Matt, thank you so much. You always find such amazing people doing amazing things. We couldn't have had a better guest than Richard and George. Very surprised to have George.
Yeah, thanks so much to Richard, and thank you. I wasn't sure if we were going to be able to speak to George because, well, he's a 6-year-old boy, and I wasn't sure whether that was going to happen or not. But that was just so lovely, such a wonderful boy, and well done to him for raising so much money.